The Portuguese man-o-war looks like a single animal, but it is not. This is one of the most incredible things about it. It is actually a colony, a team of many small creatures all living and working together. These tiny animals are called zooids. Each zooid has a special job to do for the whole group. Imagine a city where every person is a different body part, all connected and functioning as one being. This is how the man-o-war survives in the vast open ocean. It's a perfect example of teamwork in the animal kingdom, but this team is made of genetically identical individuals that cannot live on their own. This amazing creature gets its name from old sailing ships. Hundreds of years ago, Portuguese warships called caravels had a similar shape. The man-o-war has a beautiful gas-filled float that sits on top of the water. This float is often a stunning blue or purple color. It looks like a delicate balloon or a piece of blown glass. This float acts like a sail. It catches the wind and pushes the man-o-war across the surface of the sea. It has no brain and no way to steer itself. It simply goes wherever the wind and ocean currents take it on its endless journey. The colony is made of 4 different types of zooids. First is the float itself, called the pneumatophore. This part keeps the entire colony at the surface where it can catch the wind. Below the float hang the other members of the team. The most famous are the dactylozoids, which are the long, trailing tentacles. These are the hunting tools. Then there are the gastrozoids, which are the colony's stomachs. Their job is to digest any food the tentacles catch. They are a group of mouths and digestive systems all clustered together under the float, ready to get to work. Finally, the 4th type of zooid is responsible for making new colonies. These are the gonozoids, the reproductive parts of the man-o-war. They produce the sperm and eggs needed to create the next generation. All these parts work in perfect harmony. The float provides movement, the tentacles catch food, the stomachs digest it, and the reproductive parts ensure the continuation of the species. It is a brilliant, bizarre, and highly successful strategy for life in the ocean. This creature is a true marvel of evolution, a floating community with a single dangerous purpose. The most dangerous part of the Portuguese man-o-war is its tentacles. These are not just simple strings hanging in the water. They are powerful weapons, armed with thousands of tiny venom-filled stinging cells called nematocysts. The tentacles can be incredibly long, sometimes stretching down 30 meters or nearly 100 feet into the deep. This is as long as a blue whale. They create a huge net of danger hanging invisibly below the beautiful float. Anything that swims into this curtain of tentacles is in for a nasty surprise. The man-o-war is a passive hunter, waiting for prey to blunder into its trap. When a fish or other small creature touches a tentacle, the nematocysts fire automatically. They work like tiny harpoons, injecting a potent venom into the victim. This venom is strong enough to paralyze and kill small fish almost instantly. Once the prey is helpless, the tentacles slowly pull it up towards the gastrozoids, the colony's mouths, waiting just under the float. The digestive zooids then swarm over the meal, secreting enzymes that liquefy the fish. The nutrients are then absorbed and shared throughout the entire colony, feeding every single zooid from the float to the tips of the tentacles. For humans, a sting from a Portuguese man-o-war is extremely painful. People who have been stung describe it as feeling like being whipped with a hot metal wire. The sting leaves behind long red welts on the skin that look like burns. The pain can last for hours, and sometimes the marks can remain for days or even weeks. It is important to know that the stinging cells can still fire even if the man-o-war is dead and washed up on the beach. Even a dried, broken piece of tentacle can deliver a painful sting, so you should never touch one. If you are stung, it is crucial to treat it correctly. The best treatment is to rinse the area with hot water, as hot as you can stand without burning yourself. This helps to neutralize the venom. Do not listen to the old myths about using vinegar or urine. Studies have shown these can sometimes make the sting worse by causing more nematocysts to fire. Carefully remove any visible tentacle parts with tweezers, not your bare hands. While most stings are not deadly, some people can have a severe allergic reaction which can be very dangerous and requires immediate medical attention. The Portuguese man-o-war is a creature of warm waters. It thrives in tropical and subtropical regions of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. Its range covers a massive 70% of the world's ocean surface. You can find them from the coasts of Florida and the Caribbean all the way to Australia and beyond. However, as our planet's oceans get warmer due to climate change, these creatures are expanding their territory. They are now being spotted more frequently in places that used to be too cold for them, like the coasts of the United Kingdom and even as far north as Canada. Sometimes, strong winds can push vast numbers of them together into huge groups called armadas. These armadas can contain thousands of individuals, all floating in the same direction. When these massive groups are blown towards the shore, they can cause major problems. In 2018, a huge armada washed up on the coast of Florida. Over 200 people were stung in a single mass stinging event as the beaches became covered in these venomous creatures. Authorities often have to close beaches to the public when large numbers of man-o-war are sighted nearby to prevent such incidents. Despite its powerful sting, the man-o-war has its own predators. Certain animals have evolved to be immune to its venom. The loggerhead sea turtle, for example, has thick skin that protects it from the stings, and it will happily eat a man-o-war. Another amazing predator is a beautiful sea slug called the blue dragon. This small creature not only eats the man-o-war but also steals its stinging cells and uses them for its own defense. It stores the nematocysts in its own body, becoming venomous itself. This is a brilliant survival tactic. The man-o-war is also a home. A small fish, aptly named the man-o-war fish, lives a dangerous life among the deadly tentacles. It is not completely immune to the stings, but it is very agile. It darts and weaves between the tentacles, using them as a shield to hide from its own predators. In return for the protection, the little fish may nibble on the scraps from the colony's meals, or even on the tips of the tentacles themselves. It is a risky partnership, a delicate dance between the fish and its deadly host, showcasing the complex relationships that exist in the ocean. The life of a Portuguese man-o-war begins with reproduction. The gonozooids, the reproductive zooids in the colony, release sperm and eggs into the water. It is believed they can reproduce both sexually, with sperm from one colony fertilizing eggs from another, and asexually. When an egg is fertilized, it develops into a tiny larva. This larva drifts in the ocean as plankton. It is at the mercy of the currents, just like the adult colony will be. It is a fragile start to life for such a formidable creature, and many will not survive to maturity. As the larva grows, it begins to form the different zooids that will make up the future colony. The most important step is the development of the pneumatophore, the sail. Once this part is big enough to be filled with gas, the young man-o-war can float to the surface of the ocean. From this moment on, it will live its life on the boundary between the air and the sea. It will use its new sail to catch the wind, embarking on a lifelong journey across the ocean. The wind and currents are its engine, and the entire ocean is its home. Because the man-o-war has no brain and cannot control its movement, its path is entirely passive. It is a true wanderer, a drifter on the high seas. Scientists who study these animals can actually predict where they will go. By using computer models that factor in wind speed, ocean currents, and the shape of the man-o-war's sail, they can forecast where large armadas might end up. This is incredibly useful for warning coastal communities and beachgoers when a potential influx of these stinging creatures is on the way, helping to keep people safe. The Portuguese man-o-war is a paradox of nature. It is strikingly beautiful but dangerously venomous. It is not one animal but a cooperative of many. It is a simple creature with no brain, yet it has a highly successful and complex life strategy. It is both a hunter and the hunted, a source of danger to fish and humans, and a floating sanctuary for another. As it drifts silently across the world's oceans, powered only by the wind, it serves as a powerful reminder of the strange, wonderful, and sometimes perilous life that thrives beneath the waves.